Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapada Kamalang Shri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitang Tang Sajivam Sarvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitan Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitangscha Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuran Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Banchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavaranyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Goratuje Namaha Hare Krishna Jai Navadip Deti Saparika Shishi Guru Gauranga Gandhava Govinda Sundar Ki Jai Jai Latvia deities Shishi Nitai Chaitanya and Giriraj Ki Jai and Italy deities Shishi Guru Gauranga Gandhavika Gopinath and Giriraj Balagopal Ki Jai Nitai Gaura Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. And the Italian devotees are very happy this morning in our reading that Sachi Devi, Nimai's mother, then she is worshipping the Bala Gopal, probably Shalagram Shila, but she was worshipping Bala Gopal. We read that this morning. Hare Krishna. All right, well, we've come to Latvia, and here today is a sunny day with blue skies. So yesterday was a rainy day with lots of mud, and the day before was a sunny day with blue skies. So this way, spring, summer, winter joining together a little bit. What about in Latvia? Tell us. In Daugavpils, that grand river, which is called Daugavpils, I think, is it? The river? Anyway, that grand river is like the river Ganges. It just keeps flowing day and night without any break.
Dandavat Maharaj.
Dandavat.
Dandavat Maharaj, Dandavat Paramananda Prabhu, and Dandavat to all the devotees. Today it is also sunny in Latvia. It's a sunny day, but actually, with the devotees, it is always a sunny atmosphere. And we had a wonderful, you could say, circle, parikrama, with our format. When we go from Rezekne to Riga, we have a program in Riga. Riga on Friday, the devotees has gathered who came to share their inspiration after visiting the holy Dham, after visiting Navadip Dham, Puri Dham. And it was a very heartful conversation. And we were expecting many new people, but because Riga and whole Latvia was like full of a snowfall. We had some storm, something happened, and everyone was late in Riga, all the roads were full of snow, but we made it from Rezekne to Riga magically with no problems, and the devotees gathered anyways, and we gathered in the house of Tom, where we celebrated Govinda Maharaj appearance day, and the devotees all shared their heart. And Simha Prabhu also had the idea to turn the Zoom on, so some devotees joined by Zoom. So it was a very nice idea, Prabhu. We will continue doing that. The more heads, the better. And next day we went to Vilnius to meet our friends. And there, Toma, our friend who helps us in the organization with the yoga studio, she's getting the keys, she's getting the studio. Some of her friends came. Maharaj, you saw that we sent you a video. Some people came and we had a very nice program, and also Gopal gave a very inspiring lecture. And there were many different questions, but I mean the people are asking some mundane perhaps questions, but maybe connected with their karma. But Hari Gopal is giving the answers regarding the essence where we should strive for. And everyone was very inspired. And of course, Giriraj is with us. We had our altar, our pop-up altar, as Pandita Didi said. We're practicing it everywhere, wherever we travel. We have a morning, evening program in our style, as it was in Puri Dham. And Maharaj, we can feel that same mood like in Puri. It is not different when we are doing that. What we felt in Puri Dham, what we're feeling in Riga, in Vilnius, in Daugavpils, one and the same mood. Yes, maybe the intensity is less and less quantity of devotees, but regardless, that mood is the same, the enthusiasm is the same. And also Lavanya said, it is as if like a storm, we came to Daugavpils with our kirtan, and we had an instant program. And of course everyone is very inspired in the same way that we were in Puri Dham, by the association of devotees. And I want to share, Tanu Shri Didi, she said very nice things, connecting her realizations that in Puri, well, I'm gonna rephrase it a little bit, but she felt the power of Vaishnavas, that in one place 80 plus people, devotees gathered, kind-hearted devotees, and she felt that this energy, this power of that energy, this desire to serve and give, these kind hearts. And she was talking with Dante Maharaj. She was afraid to commit some offenses, because maybe some thoughts, what if I think something wrong about someone? And Dante Maharaj said, don't worry, there is so much power here that, to digest your insignificant, kind of offenses or not, some thoughts. There is so much power in this association. Nobody will notice your insignificant thoughts. You don't worry about that at all. You just get into this wave, and we feel that, and we're inspired. And we went through this journey, I don't know how many kilometers, maybe 1,000 kilometers. And this weekend we drove, and when we are with the devotees, we're driving, we're discussing Krishna, the devotees, we're chanting the holy names, we're chanting Bhagavad Gita, we're sharing the confidential, some impressions, some thoughts. Our life is fulfilled with happiness, and there is nothing better than to be in the association of the devotees and to make this movement towards service, towards preaching, so to say, people reaching to share our inspiration with them. I do not know how successful we were to share, but Maharaj, we're happy that we made this journey, and a huge gratitude to Vraja Krishna and Indumati that they have hosted and accepted us today. It is a tradition now, so we go to Riga, Vilnius, and on our way back we stop at Daugavpils. Huge gratitude to Harigopal, Lavanya, and Alina for their support that they give me in these movements, and I'm very happy that we have this team and we can fulfill these ideas, and it's very pleasant, very valuable. So I offer my obeisances and all the devotees for your support. It is very valuable to do this. and to participate in this. But, and first of all, for me, it is valuable for me. Maybe someone else would like to share something. There was a question about Shiva. Yes, Maharaj, we have a few questions from the audience, if we can, if we may ask a few questions. I cannot hear you. Maharaj, we cannot hear you.
And just to mention for those who joined that this is a simultaneous translation. So Natalia and maybe others who joined, just to know that you need to find in the menu of Zoom where it says interpretation, and there click on English or Russian if you prefer, but you're going to get the English or Russian. When the Russians speak, we will hear English. When the English speak, the Russians hear Russian. Yes, by the grace of Hari Gopal Prabhu. So just to make that point. Yes, question from?
Lavanya Mai Didi.
Lavanya Mai, yeah.
Dandavat Maharaj, Dandavat, all the devotees. Yes, Russian. I have a question. Tomorrow is the day of Shiva, Shiva Ratri. And how can, as we know, Shiva is the father of Gurudev. And I want to know what in this special day, on this special day, how can we serve? What can we do?
We can chant Vaishnava Kirtans. We can appreciate the greatness of the Vaishnavas. And we can hear Srila Gurudev's talks, his informal talks. There are at least 2, I believe, on scsmat.com, or will be tomorrow. There on the calendar on the right-hand side, if you click Shivaratri, you will see some talks where Srila Gurudev is giving guidance. And who is Mahadeva? Mahadeva, the chief, the topmost, greatest of the Devas. This is Shiva, Mahadev. Often he's known as Mahadev. But we are worshipping Shiva as a Vaishnava, not as a demigod or a deva who we can get things from. Give him €1 and ask for 1 million euros. This is not the approach to Lord Shiva, and it is not the approach of Vaishnavas to any gods. We are not trying to do bribery or trickery. We're not trying to get something for ourselves. We want to serve. And so we have in Navadip the temple of Gangadhar, so Sadashiva Gangadharju, beside Govinda Kund. And I believe it's the next day after Shivaratri is the day of the installation of Lord Shiva there in the temple, in that temple. And Srila Gurudev, he was describing about the temple. He said, first of all, this is not an example for everyone to follow. This is my service to Lord Shiva. My life is by his grace. Everyone says I am the son of Lord Shiva. So it is Gurudev's own feeling of indebtedness that he is rendering this opportunity to serve Lord Shiva. And he said, and this is Shiva purely of the spiritual world, the pure Vaishnava Shiva. And he said, and the general people, they will come and they will worship Shiva. And thinking that they are worshipping Shiva of mostly the temples in the world, in India, they are Shiva of the mundane world, Shiva who's the head of Tamagun, the mode of ignorance. Then that Shiva they are worshipping, and they hear that he's easily pleased, so We can get lots of things if we easily please him. But in Navadip, in Chaitanya Saraswati Math, the Shiva is Sada Shiva, the pure Shiva of the upper world. And so Gurudev said, yes, the local people will come. For instance, tomorrow on Shiva Ratri, traditionally, they'll come and they'll make some offerings to Shiva. And so the local people will think that they are making offerings to the Shiva of the master of Tamagun. So Gurudev said, but by some trick, they are doing Vaishnava Seva without knowing it, because this Shiva is not that Shiva. This Shiva is Shiva of the upper world, and so hence the Vaishnava Shiva. So we will always keep in the channel of Vaishnavism, and hence Lord Shiva, he will be worshipped by us as a great Vaishnava, of which he is. And he has his place too as the guardian of the gopis. So everywhere, then Shiva's got some representation in the Tamagun of this world, and then in the higher world, and the holder of the Ganges on his head, the Vaishnava Shiva, and then in the upper world, then there is Gopeshwa Shiva. So our mood of worship will be as Vaishnava Shiva. And in Navadip, incidentally, some of you may know, but some may not know, then there is Govinda Kund, there is the temple in the middle of Govinda Kund, which is the temple of Giriraj, and sometimes Mahaprabhu visits there also. He has his pastimes and goes to visit Giriraj. And the system for offering food, because everything that we cook, it is to be offered, and of course the Lord must be offered food. And so the system is that the bhoga, the cooking food, is offered to Giriraj and to Mahaprabhu when Mahaprabhu is there. Otherwise, Mahaprabhu is receiving his offering beside Srila Guru Maharaj in the Samadhi of Guru Maharaj. But the offering is made to Giriraj. Then that offering, when the Lord has taken, that prasadam of Giriraj is then taken and is offered to Lord Shiva. So Shiva is receiving prasadam of Lord Vishnu. And this is what Vaishnava Shiva, this is what Sada Shiva, what he wants. He doesn't want people to come just to please him, separate from the Lord. He wants to take the prasad of the Lord, the Supreme Lord. So this way, Srila Gurudev arranged Shiva's worship in Chaitanya Saraswati Math in this way, offering the bhoga to Krishna, in this case to Giriraj, and then Giriraj's prasadam is then coming to Lord Shiva. So to please Shiva, we will offer nicely for Krishna. And then if we do have Shiva representation in the home, then that prasadam can be offered to Lord Shiva, but not for any idea that I'm giving something to you, Lord Shiva, now upgrade my car from a Land Rover to a Range Rover, whatever it is Suresh Krishna drives. I'm not sure what goes above a Range Rover, a Jeep. No, Range Rover is better than a Jeep. Anyway, we're not asking Shiva to upgrade our car. We're just coming to serve him. So he's a great Vaishnava, and he can bless us for our Vaishnava journey, for our journey home. So if we are asking anything, it's please help me along the journey home. May you be pleased. Hare Krishna. And seated here beside me is Leelamrita Devi Rasi. She's the wife of Prapanna Prabhu, and she's from Russia, some place in Russia.
Moscow.
Moscow. Oh, I've heard of Moscow. I've been to Moscow. So she speaks whatever they speak in Moscow, which I believe is Russian. But unfortunately, she's hearing the English because we're on the English channel. However, we can also ask her to share something from Vila Govinda in a few moments. In fact, now we could ask her, she's here with us. And actually, Prapana and Leelamrita, Prapana Prabhu and Leelamrita Devirasi, they came here to Vila Govinda to assist to Munindra Mohan Prabhu and Krishna Kanta because, as some of you know, then myself and Shanti Moy Devirasi, Madhurananda Prabhu, we were all on pilgrimage in India. And so we had a very minimum crew in Vila Govinda, and yet the Lord is here. Shri Shri Guru Goranga Gandhavika Gopinath and Giriraj. And so their service must go on as well as the other savers of the mat. And so Leelamrita came. Yes, we saw you on the video too. Leelamrita really came, and she can give a little news from here if you like, and I can change our channel to Russian. Or would you like to speak in English? English?
No, I prefer Russian. But what I will tell, I don't know.
I don't know. I won't know either because it's going to be in Russian and I won't be able to hear the translation. I'm going to change the channel to Russian. So now it's between you, Russian speaking section. You're with friends. They're all friends. They're all vegetarian. Nobody will bite.
Dandavat to all the devotees. Thank you. We were very hospitably greeted here. Everyone went to India on pilgrimage, but we came to pilgrimage to Villa Govinda. Were you living in the south of Italy, and unfortunately we do not have association with the devotees, only from ISKCON, and therefore we're very happy to be here. It's the spiritual world. Prapanna is serving from morning to night, all the possible services, whichever he wants, loves, and whichever need to be fulfilled, he's doing. Thanks to grateful to Maharaj for his coming back from India. He's giving us his association. And welcome to everyone to Villa Govinda.
The end.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so we switched back to English. And we've got Natalia here, who is from Brazil. And I said, please you come, because Russian sounds like Portuguese of Brazil. But they don't seem to agree with me too much on it. And she's been here helping out at Vila Govinda while we've been away. So we're very happy that devotees have automatically come to give assistance in the need, where there is the need of service. So just to introduce you. So we've all joined to Latvia, and Latvia, you know where is Latvia? I don't know if
we passed Latvia.
I don't know if Natalia knows where it is.
We have train from Moscow to Riga. Train.
Before, yes. Hare Krishna. All right, we come to the gallery. Yes, lots of devotees. And Subhada Devi Dasi, I was mentioning your ashram or the ashram in Tomsk this morning, and I have witnesses because Paramananda Prabhu is here also. So I have witnesses, and really wonderful ashram there in Tomsk. Something for Latvia to see as an example of an ashram functioning in a country where you would not expect. It's like a functioning ashram to be running by normal consideration. We've heard Gurudev say about how in Russia they are chanting Hare Krishna and so many things, but yet it is a communist, or was a communist country, and that means atheist. And in China, They are chanting Hare Krishna and still is a communist country and officially atheist, but now chanting Hare Krishna. And the Tomsk ashram is very beautiful ashram, more Indian than India itself, this kind of feeling in the ashram. Hare Krishna. Braja.
Maharaj.
Oh, yes.
Yes, I just wanted to say, Vrajavala has been raising her hand for half an hour.
Oh, has she? Okay, I just noticed your hand, so maybe we have to have a hand that moves or something so we can see it better. But we are on the computer. I'm on the computer this week. The last few times we've been in India have been on the little phone, so it's easier to see you all in one screen, happily. So Brajavaladi, please, either share or ask as you wish.
Dandavat Pranam Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam all the devotees. I'm very happy to join you on this Zoom meeting. Thank you so much for all of your association. And Maharaj, I have actually two questions in line with the first question that had been previously asked about Mahashivaratri coming up. And they are not connected. I don't know which one to ask first, so I will go with Sadashiva question. I have a question about Sadashiva, which you already mentioned a little bit about, but I remember back in 2018, when we have been traveling with you together in Ukraine, you have been on preaching tour in Ukraine, and I also had a question about Sadashiva, and please correct me if I remember wrong, but I think you mentioned to me that Srila Govinda Maharaj even wrote a pranam mantra to Sadashiva or something like that.
Yes.
If it's yes, and so my question today is, could you please elaborate a little bit more about the etymological meaning of Sada, for example, Sadashiva? What does it mean in theological sense and etymological sense? Because I'm familiar with the term, but I do not know so much history like behind it. And I would really appreciate if you would like elucidate a little bit like on this topic. And the second question, maybe I also say the second question, so you know like what is the second question is. The second question is also about Mahashivaratri. And as you also already mentioned that Vaishnavas, that we see Shiva as a manifestation of Krishna himself. We do not like see him separately, but we see Shiva, like we worship Shiva as a Vaishnava, like as a manifestation of Krishna. We do not like worship Shiva as a separate deity, as you also like mentioned previously. And I was wondering, for example, I am someone who likes listening mantras on YouTube. And Mahashivaratri coming up, there are a lot of mantras to Shiva, for example, by different people who are Vaishnavas, non-Vaishnavas. And actually, most of the Shiva mantras, they by Shivaite people. They're those who are worshippers of Shiva. And I was wondering how auspicious it would be to listen to some of these mantras during Mahashivaratri, because I feel like Mahashivaratri, like some mantras to Shiva maybe should be like listened to. But for example, on YouTube, most of the mantras they're sung by very good singers, but they're not Vaishnava singers. And to my knowledge, I don't know like any like even YouTube videos with mantras sung by Vaishnavas, but like mantras to Shiva. Most of the, for example, mantras that I have heard and listened to, they were like by people who are worshippers of Shiva, like who practice Hatha yoga, for example, and they worship Shiva, and they have good voices, and they sing this mantra. So my second question is about that. Like, should we listen to these mantras to Shiva on Shivaratri, or should we avoid listening to this kind of mantras?
Okay, so because you asked the second question just now and it's fresh in my memory, then I can say to you that if you are attracted, you're attracted. It's fine. But really, we want to hear from a known source. And even when we hear Vaishnava songs, which is like purely Vaishnava songs. We also want to hear them sung from a known source and an authorized Vaishnava song. In other words, we were in Puri just now, and in Puri there are well-established temples where they sing Vaishnava songs. You will only hear that in the song, you will hear different names of the Lord in different manifestations. But some of those Vaishnava songs, in some places we go to, they have upper Siddhanta in them. There is this clash of incorrect Siddhanta in the way that even the song is composed and made, and mixing like Madhura Rasa with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, for instance, which is a big no and very much disturbs Gurudev and Guru Maharaj. So even in the area that we are more familiar with, which is in the area of Vaishnava Kirtan, then the Kirtan must be proper. In other words, we understand it safe, very safe, if it's come from Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Srila Narottam Das Thakur, Lochan Das Thakur, etc., Rupa Goswami, Guru Maharaj, Gurudev. But still, so then we get a safe kirtan, so that not just any jumble of names or something put together. But still we want to hear that sung from a Vaishnava, and as good a Vaishnava as possible, and not by a Bollywood movie star or something who they've got a well-trained voice for doing the high notes and the low notes and everything in between, and can be very perfect in their kind of singing. So it's not only what is being sung, but who is singing it. Now, about any Shiva kirtans, it's not that it is wrong, but who are we and who is going to give some judgment of is this a correct song or not for Shiva, and who is singing that song. And still it'll come down to who is singing the song. Ideally, they should be a Vaishnava and not a mundane person who's either getting very much pride by my good singing, or singing something which may be devotional, but devotional in the sphere of karma kanda. So, having said that, during Durga Puja in Calcutta, there is a tradition where there is certain kirtans to Durga, who is the consort of Shiva. And there is the recitation of Sanskrit mantras. Now, this is not actually singing. It is like we are saying, Vandeham Shri Guru. It is the recitation of Sanskrit mantras. And there is one man, and I don't know his name. I've heard it. Gurudeva said his name. And that recording of him reciting these mantras is heard all over Bengal. It's like the chanting of those mantras. And Gurudev was very happy to hear those. And those were on the loudspeakers everywhere, but not loudspeakers like the traditional distorted, over-volumed loudspeakers, but actually would be played, because it is not singing also, it is recitation, and would be played very sweetly. And Gurudev told, there are two people that I have heard, only two people who can pronounce Sanskrit perfectly. One is Guru Maharaj, and the second one is that, oh my goodness, I touched something on the keyboard. Did I lose everybody? Oh, no, you're still there. Okay. So two people, the Gurudev said, they're chanting, they're pronouncing Sanskrit perfectly. One is Srila Guru Maharaj, and the other is that person who is chanting those mantras during Durga Puja. And Gurudev would listen to them very appreciatively to those mantras. So, in that case, we can say, well, there we are, we've got something approved by Gurudev, and Gurudev was quite happy to hear those. And incidentally, that man died. It happens in the world, people die. And then the powers that be who say what happens during the Durga Puja, then they had somebody else reciting. They used a new recording, but by popular demand, or in Bengal you get a lot of people, by demand, for the next year they brought back that original person, even though he'd passed away. They still, as far as I know, until today, they use that recording. So you see, there can be things which please the son of Lord Shiva. There can be things that please Gurudev in this way. And still, again, we're not going to listen to that instead of our Vaishnava Kirtan, if we find that recording that I'm referring to. But at Durga Puja time, for us, it's a happy remembrance of Gurudev and of being with him and in our Calcutta temple. So in other words, you like to hear Kirtan, but still, whatever Kirtan you listen to, the Kirtan should be proper and the singer of the Kirtan should be proper. This is as far as possible. So Gurudev's Kirtans, Guru Maharaj's Kirtans, and where you feel and find that you're getting like genuine Vaishnava singing. Srila Prabhupada's Kirtans, there are quite a lot of those on the web. Then we will be in a safe place. And about Sadashiva, and you were asking things which is, I don't even know what you said, etymology, did you say? I'm not sure what it was you're asking, but something I would have to look up. What is the question?
Maharaj, it just means the meaning of words. Like, what is the meaning? Like in Sanskrit, what it means? It means etymologically.
Okay, well, I'm not sure, dictionary speaking, but my impression from Gurudev when he's like said, but this is Sadashiva, and this is Sadashiva, Shiva of the upper world. And Sada in general means forever. This idea like of always continuous. So Nitya comes to mind, always there. But Paramananda Prabhu is with us and he can probably give a better explanation because I'm only saying something that comes in my mind. But I can say, I've heard in different times Gurudev saying, he's Sadashiva, which means Vaishnava Shiva, the eternal Shiva of the eternal plane. And by the way, there were 3 or 4 things that Guru Maharaj told are very difficult to understand. In other words, we cannot really understand with our brain. And one of them is Shiva Tattva. In other words, Shiva in his different forms, to understand Shiva Tattva, the truth of Shiva. Another one is Dham Tattva, another one is Nam Tattva, and maybe something else.
Jeev Tattva, Guru Tattva.
Jiva Tattva, Guru Tattva. These things are all very difficult to understand. So let's pass the microphone over to Paramananda Prabhu. He may help us more with this etymology of Sadashiva.
I'm not big on etymology, Maharaj, but I can only repeat what you heard from Govinda Maharaj. And Sada also refers as to a pure, unadulterated, untouched, unspoiled, you can say. So Sadashiva is indeed the original Shiva. And Shiva Tattva, we can speak about it, and still we will not be able to understand pretty much anything, but we can get some clues in the line of our gurus, our lineage. So Srila Guru Maharaj explains that when Sadashiva, the Shiva of the spiritual upper world, comes in touch with material nature, he takes a different form of Rudra. And then Rudra expands into more Rudras, etc., etc. He's giving example of milk milk being transformed into yogurt by the culture. Same, but different. So you see, it's quite inconceivable to understand. But in our tradition, and Srila Gurudev pointed that out very clearly, we worship Bhakta Shiv. There's also Bhog Shiv, who enjoys the material nature. I mean, material nature is his consort. Parvati, Durga, Kali, she rules this world, and he is the pati. He is the one who enjoys her. So that's Bhog Shiv, and he engaged in all sorts of things in that position. But our focus on Bhakti Shiv. So Srila Govinda Maharaj composed this beautiful pranam mantram, and in that pranam mantram, everything is given. So we can just stick to that. There are two pranam mantram for Vaishnav Shiva, one composed by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and dedicated to Gopeshwar Mahadev, and another one of known actually. Second one will be by Govinda Maharaj, very unique, and that is Devadi Devam Ahibhushanam Indukasham. Means Devadi Devam, he is the topmost of all the devas, of all the demigods. He is above of all, and he is Ahibhushanam, decorated with snakes as ornaments, inconceivable. Indukasham, his bodily luster is that of a moonlight, like a shining moon in the middle of the night. That kind of beautiful hue, color hue. Indukasham, Panchananam Pashupatim Varadam Prashanam. He's got 5 heads. He's carrying the Pashupat, his favorite weapon. And he is Varadam Prashanam. He is very easy to give boons. If you ask him something, he's easy to give, easy to satisfy, but that will be addressed later in this pranam mantra. Gangadharam pranatapalakam ashutosham. So he is Gangadhar. He is helping Ganges to descend. And that story all of you know. Pranatapalakam ashutosham, easy to satisfy. Ashutosh. Pranatapalakam ashutosham. Vande Sadashiva. Again, Gurudev is pointing that out. Vande Sadashiva, to that pure Sadashiva, I am offering my obeisances. But not just Sadashiva, Hari Priya Chandra Maulim. He is also a Hari Priya, a Shiva who is very dear to Krishna, very dear to Hari. In other words, a devotee. So if you go for Arctic, and we were just there in our beautiful Navadvip Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat, Mula Mat. So in the morning, when they perform worship to Sadashiva Gangadhar Mahadev, they're singing Ohe Vaishnava Thakura. So that is the bhajan they're using to worship Lord Shiva. Again, according to the instructions of Srila Govinda Maharaj. So he's a bhakta, he's Vaishnav. Vaishnav Thakur, this is our vision. And prior to that pranam mantra was revealed. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he gives another pranam mantra dedicated to Gopeshwar Mahadev, and it is also very much favored by all of the Vaishnavas. Vrindavane Vanipate Jaya Soma Soma Molim Sanaka Sananda Sanatana Naradeya Gopeshwara Brajavilasa Ugangri Padme Prima Prayacha Nirupadhi Namo Namaste. So in that pranam mantra, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he describes Lord Shiva as a gatekeeper of the rasa stali. And in that particular pastime, he's got a form of a gopi, a female form. It's also very inconceivable. Speaking of Shiva Tattva, it's already inconceivable. Now we're going into a realm of absolutely inconceivable, when Shiva becomes a gopi. I wouldn't even venture there. We have to accept, bow down, and what Vishwanath Chakravarti is praying for, Prema Prayacha Nirupadi Namo Namaste. I'm offering my obeisances to Lord Shiva, in whose power it is to give Prema Bhakti to Sri Radha and Krishna, to bestow that service. So that is his position described by the higher Vaishnavas. And I think this is very satisfactory for our lineage. And like Srila Madhusudan Maharaj just mentioned, Srila Govinda Maharaj, he can hear glorifications of Lord Shiva, he can hear glorifications of Devi, and easily digest it. He is the resident of that world. There's no difficulty for him. Just like Shiva not digested, but he handled the poison that came during the churning of the ocean. Can we imitate that? I highly doubt it. So we can bow down to that pastime of Srila Govinda Maharaj, knowing his position in relation to Lord Shiva, which is again eternally worshipable and inconceivable. And I would say continue with recitation of these two pranamas, because we heard this pranam mantra from our Guru Varga. One is directly composed by Srila Govinda Maharaj, another Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. And also remember him as Vaishnava. That would be safe for us. And also very pleasing to our Guru Varga. And Shiva will be very happy. He wants to be considered a Vaishnava. If you read their exchange when Lord is asking Shiva to become Shankaracharya, it's a heartbreaking exchange. He is asking his devotee, Bhakta, to cheat everybody. So Shiva wants to be seen as the Bhakta of Lord Krishna. That is his favorite position. And when he is asked by Devi, what is the highest worship in this world? Aradhanar sarvesham Vishnu aradharam padam. So he's answering that. Of all the worships, aradharanam sarvesham Vishnu aradharam param. The highest is the worship to Lord Vishnu. And then he adds, but actually, if you consider more deeply, the highest worship is not directly of Lord Vishnu, but a devotee of Lord Vishnu. And I think that harmonizes pretty much everything about Shiva Tattva and our vision of that.
And on scsmat.com, in the links for tomorrow, Shiva Ratri, there's a talk by Guru Maharaj. There are two talks. So there's one talk audio by Srila Gurudev. There's an article by Srila Gurudev, and Lord Shiva's Pranam mantra composed by Srila Guru Maharaj is also there. So this also will help us to have the proper perception of Shiva and Shiva Ratri. And in Navadip tomorrow, then not only our temple, but wherever there is Shiva, then lots of people come, and especially the unmarried girls, they come wearing nice clothes and coming all decorated to make offerings to Shiva in the hope of getting a good husband. This is there. But when they come to our Shiva, Gurudev Shiva, they're coming, making their offerings as a Vaishnava, to the Vaishnava Shiva. So this way, they're making offerings to him and starting their devotional life. Gurudev very sweetly described like that. Very beautiful.
Thank you very much, Maharaj. I just want to express my gratitude for the beautiful explanation that you gave and for the beautiful explanation that Paramananda Prabhu also presented to us, which is about inconceivable things, yet he presented it so clearly in such a simple words. And I just want to express my gratitude for your beautiful explanation. Thank you very much. Thank you. Everything is clear.
Happily giving explanation we can. Why happily? Because it does make us remember Gurudev and Guru Maharaj. We have to think about them, and we are happy to share what we can of them always. By the way, in the chat box, various links are there, which I think probably originate from the Mat website, scsmat.com, for the Shiva Ratri Day, the link. But at the top, I see Gunali Devidasi in St. Petersburg. She has reminded us and mentioned that this Wednesday, February the 11th, means just gone by, Malati in Moscow She passed away, but she passed away in Chiang Mai, which I only learnt today. I thought she was in Moscow. And she was seen off with Kirtan by Goswami Maharaj Bhaktilalita, Makancho Prabhu, and other devotees. So yes, this was a shock to me. I only heard very recently that she was like in terminal health condition. And it was a little bit of a shock to me because we all know that she was very healthy. She was an affectionate leader. She got so many things done, managed so many things with affection to the devotees. And she did yoga. She was a yoga teacher, very healthy and good-looking lady. I mean, she looked very healthy and well. But you see, another reminder that we do not know what date, what day, what date is our day for leaving from this world. And we should always be ready so that at any time we go, then we're not going to be so attached to our mobile phones and all these other things that we're going to be lost. When we leave this body, we should have our main attachment to the holy name, Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. And this is a big reminder when people who we can feel are close to us. She was very kind and looked after all of the team who would come on the preaching tours in Russia and in Ukraine. She was in Ukraine too, in the Veda Life programs in the earlier years that we were there at least. And Makanshore also coming there. And Makanshore, he must be quite sad this time, of course. So everybody will be sad.
And Maharaj, we should also mention that it will be the disappearance day of Yudhamanya Prabhu, which is quite... He left on the Shivaratri.
Oh, did he? Is that on the calendar?
Should be.
We'll look at that and see.
Yeah.
Yudhamanya Prabhu left on Shivaratri. Hare Krishna. And Yudhamanya Prabhu, he's somebody we knew even more closely than Malati. I mean, Malati we knew quite happily, quite well. But, oh yes, it's on the calendar. Disappearance of Sripad Yudhamanya Prabhu, Seva Vikram. Yes.
And literally, a good example of a devotee who died in harness, in the sense, just taking a nap, rest between the programs, finishing one program and getting ready for another program, and that's when he left the world.
Okay, that I didn't know. I know that he was resting. I wasn't aware it was between two programs. So there we are. But he was like doing service, preaching service, and taking care of devotees. He was a very caring person. Taking care, looking after the well-being of devotees, spiritually speaking, like continually. And then one day he's as normal doing his preaching work and then disappeared, then left his body. Quite surprisingly like that. Yes. Hare Krishna. And Yudhamanya Prabhu, really, we know him through Gurudev's eyes as well as through our own eyes, but especially through Gurudev's eyes. When somebody's got particular recognition from Gurudev, we are very happy to give all respect and all service when we can do service, and we got to do some service for Yudhamanya Prabhu and to assist him in different ways, even though he was a difficult person to serve because he didn't want to be served. But still, we tricked him. No. But still, he allowed us to do some service. And we've known him for actually many years. I don't know when was the first time I met him, but from Guru Maharaj's time, we've known Yudhamanya Prabhu. And most people today think of him as being like the key preacher, key presenter of Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Math in China, which indeed he was. From him, he really sowed the seeds and cultivated the seeds in China of Srila Guru Maharaj and Srila Gurudev's Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Math. But his origin was within ISKCON. He was in ISKCON, Srila Prabhupada's mission. Many of us were in Srila Prabhupada's mission. And he was preaching in South Africa. And South Africa, from there, he also, then by Gurudev or Guru Maharaj's wish, he was preaching then in California and heading up the San Jose ashram in California, which was a preaching ashram. It was the base for collection, book distribution and collections. And his collection, Gurudev told that Yudamanyu, your collection is for Chaitanya Saraswati Math. It's not for the local temple or any other purpose. And he was very focused for that. And even when the temple in California, the main temple came along, they needing money, then Yudamanyu Prabhu said, no, Gurudev strictly told me the collection of our team is only for Chaitanya Saraswati Math. So that gave a little competition with the other collectors there, that they understood, okay, we have to provide the funds for the new temple, the new ashram that was coming in Soquel near Santa Cruz. And so Yudamanyu Prabhu was there in California, and he was heading that team, and he had a team of devotees, which included Bhakti Lalita. Gurudev sent her from India, sent her for service. You go there and serve under Yudamanyu Prabhu in the temple, and she was one of those doing the collection and programs there from California. And then Yudamanyu Prabhu got the opportunity to teach, because he was a professional teacher of English language. And he got the opportunity of a post to teach in Thailand, and I think Bangkok, but it was in Thailand. And he asked to Gurudev first before he went there. He said, Gurudev, I have this opportunity. Would you like me to go? And Gurudev, Gurudev saying to him, well, what do you want to do? But always Yudamanyu Prabhu would ask Gurudev, no, what do you want me to do? Whatever you say, I will do. And he had no preference. His preference was only to do what Gurudev wanted to be done. And then he was there in Thailand for some time, and then he got some opportunity from a professor in Chengdu, I believe, Chengdu in China, and got an opportunity to go there to teach English in the university for the business graduates. China is very famous for its businessmen, but for the international market, then the businessmen, helpful they have English. And so he was teaching English, conversational, practical English, to the business graduates, not Shakespeare and all those kind of specialist technical English things. And then when he got that opportunity, he's coming to Gurudev and saying, I have this opportunity. What would you like me to do? And again, he's not giving the slightest indication of, well, it would be good if I did that, or good if I did this other, or good if I went back to California, because his wife was in California, Jivana Devinasi, and she's making that surrender too, that she's working for one of the IT companies, maybe Hewlett Packard, one of those big companies there. She's working there. And so while her husband is doing service in different places, she's in separation. And so Yudamanyu Prabhu is not making any hint, oh, I should see my wife more often, I should go home, or anything else. And Gurudev saying, Gurudev is saying, this is my serious responsibility. When somebody will only move if I say so, then Gurudev taking that very seriously. And then he said, yes, well, in which case, Yuramanya Prabhu, take this opportunity in China, see what can be done. So he actually was preaching in Thailand through the university students in earlier days, and some of those seeds that now in Thailand, some more lively activity for reaching to the Thai people. And then he went to China, and then teaching the students there, he got a very good response. And he did it in a very clever way, sensible way. And then those students now, of course, they graduate, and then they go into all kinds of different places in China. And several of them still are active. They've gone to different places, and they're telling others about Krishna consciousness. So Yuramanya Prabhu passed away, but not only his legacy, but his preaching continues through the several devotees who he brought to Gurudev's lotus feet. And lots of personal pastimes with Yuramanya Prabhu, but all with affection. Never raised his voice, never angry or this, that, and the other. Oh, such a wonderful devotee. Hare Krishna.
Maharaj, I can add only a little bit on top of that, and you can relate to that, remembering how with a certain amount of desperation, he would ask Srila Govinda Maharaj, are you happy with me? And he will repeat that several times. Can you picture that face of Yudamarya? Really desperately wanting to know if Govinda Maharaj is happy with what he is doing. He didn't want to hear an easy answer. He wanted to know from the core of the heart if he is on the right path and whatever he does is satisfying to Srila Gurudev.
And he would ask us, he would ask me, is Gurudev happy? Like he really wanted to know, am I doing the right thing? And is he happy with me? And we shared a room together. I mean, we shared different times rooms together, and you couldn't want a better roommate. But some wouldn't want to share the room with him because he snored extremely. But that was happy for me because I thought, okay, this is Krishna, and I have to adjust to the environment. And so I became very happy hearing his snoring, thinking, oh, he's having such a nice sleep. The Vaishnava is happy. So really, I was happy to share a room with him. Even when the wooden windows shook in the night from the snoring. And that's not Vaishnava exaggeration. Actually, the windows did shake.
It's real, Maharaj. I've been in that situation.
Didn't you and I and he share a room at one time in Dum Dum Park? That large room
Quite possible,
at the
Maharaj.
stairs. Yes, I think so.
And then he would bring Chinese to Thailand because at that time it was very difficult for them to come to India because of some conflict, misunderstanding on the government level. And then he will bring them when Govinda Maharaj is there, and he will tell me, you're from the communist country, they're from the communist country, you have common language. By the end of this week, I want all of them to be initiated. That's your job, I did mine.
Hare Krishna. Jai Gurudev. Prabhu, thank you very much for reminding me that it's Yuramanya Prabhu's disappearance day as well as Shiva Ratri. That is important for us. Hare Krishna. And so, yes, may we all send some Vaishnava good wishes But you are all Vaishnavas, you can send Vaishnava good wishes. Formality. And I do not know much detail of her passing, but she is with the devotees and passed away in that way. It is auspicious, and we all, hope that devotees will be around when each of us pass away, that we'll have that kind of good association. I was going to say vibration, but it's not just a good vibration, that good association and the Vaishnavata, the Vaishnava part of every devotee, doing some good, maybe a little bit, maybe more than a little bit, but combined together, this must help the soul on the journey. And the journey is sure. Passing away is sure. We are on a journey in this life, and that journey doesn't stop. And we go to the unknown to us at the moment, but it will be familiar to us when we leave our body. Oh, again, I'm leaving my body. But we must go with that firm connection with Guru and Gauranga, and no connection, the mundane things. The mundane things are all are temporarily in our care for service. When our service changes, then we leave all behind and not be attached or lamenting or anything else. Hare Krishna. And a quick look, the chat box, something else.
Maharaj, я извиняюсь, нам нужно раньше
Maharaj,
закончить, потому что Хари
please
Гопал и
forgive me.
Лаване
We
нужно
must
отвезти на
end
вокзал.
early. We must
Успеть.
drive Lavanyamai and Harigopal to the train station.
Well, you can't turn the clock back,
Yes.
and it's already not early, so what are you going to do? Okay. So, Suresh Krishna, we have been forgetful of the time. Could you remind us? But it's already not early. So, Prabhu, we'll pass the microphone back to you. We didn't hear from Raja Krishna Prabhu and the other devotees there in Latvia. It is the Latvian Zoom. But still, we've been with you all. We've all come into your room, and with so many others who've joined. So, Prabhu, let us pass the microphone back to you. Here's the microphone. And please, you.
Maharaj, огромная благодарность за очень живой, динамичный зум.
Huge gratitude for a very dynamic, heartful Zoom. We're very happy to listen, but we must take the devotees back home.
Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki jai, Jai Mushripal Srila Bhakti Rakshakshidhar Dev Goswami Maharaj ki jai, Jai Mushripal Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai, Jai Mushripal Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Guru Gauranga Dharma Govinda Sundar Ji ki jai, Giriraj Govardhan ki jai, Shri Shinitai Gauranga Ji ki jai, Guru Parampara ki jai, Guru Varga ki jai, Namacharya Shri Thakur ki jai, Tulasi Maharani ki jai, Shri Chaitanya Saraswati Acharya Vrindi ki jai, Srila Bhakti Ranjan Madhusudan Maharaj ki jai, Sannyasa Vrindi ki jai, Bhakta Vrindi ki jai, Shri Pad Paramananda Prabhu ki jai, all assembled devotees ki jai, Shri Hari Nam Sankirtan ki jai, Nitar Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.
And all the Latvia Bhaktivinoda ki jai, all the worldwide Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So have a safe journey back to home, back to Godhead, but back home, back to Resigne also in this case, and wishing you all a successful Seva week, and we'll meet you all again soon. Hare Krishna. Amra Dandavat Dandavat. Jai Gurudev, Jai Guru Maharaj. Govinda, Govinda, Govinda. Well done, Hari Gopal Prabhu. You survived. Put down your brain in the snow outside after all that hard translation. Hare Krishna. Amra Ashti. Govinda, Govinda.